I, a 16-year-old female, have always been on the less cautious side when it comes to technology. Such a bad habit. But after this experience, I've definitely become more careful. Earlier this year, I was messaged by an account on Instagram. It had photos of a woman and her kids doing everyday things. I normally don't accept DMs from random accounts, but the account that messaged me was followed by my brother, so I didn't think too much of it. The DM said something along the lines of, "What would you do for $2,000? Right away, I figured it was something sketchy, but I went along with it. They asked for my PayPal, which doesn't actually have any info on it. No bank or anything, just my email. I don't use PayPal at all. And out of curiosity, I gave it to them. They sent me screenshots of the money being sent to my account and whatnot, and told me all I needed to do was click on a link sent to my phone number. I wasn't sure what the link would do, and out of stupid curiosity, I clicked it. Immediately, my Instagram was logged off my phone. Normally, I wouldn't be super upset if I lost my social media accounts. They don't matter much to me. But this was a long-term account, and the account I usually use to message my partner, a 17-year-old male, on. That being said, the account had some unholy pictures on it, and personal information shared between me, my partner, and some friends. I immediately panicked and messaged them on a separate account of mine, offering the account I was on, which had a similar following and post count. I told them that I was a minor, and the account they had hacked had inappropriate child images on it, and that I'd be contacting the police if they didn't give it back or delete the account. Of course that didn't work. Around the same time, I called my partner and was basically freaking out. I have trauma around being exploited, and this whole situation was really upsetting to me. He deleted any personal messages on his side, and as I was trying to figure out how to get the account back, he got a message. He was sent a photo of me naked, which wasn't exactly a huge problem because the message was originally sent to him, but obviously the fact that they had saved it to their device and were willing to send it to people was a big issue. I messaged the account again, basically just saying what the hell and to delete the photo. They told me that they would send the pictures to everyone on my account if I didn't pay them $300 in the next 8 hours. My account has family on it, including my mom and cousins. Not only do I not have $300 to my name, I also wasn't willing to fork it over to them, since it was pretty obvious they wouldn't give the account back either way. So I continued to find other ways to get my account back. They started making posts on my page. Nothing too weird, just the average scammy, "I got 10K from doing this" BS. At this point, I was messaging people I was friends with on that account and asking them to block that account until everything was figured out, just in case. A few friends messaged my hacked account and started messing around with the person on it, which I knew was obviously not a good idea, and I put a stop to it as soon as I found out, and asked, "Do you want to see tits?" and sent less revealing but still basically naked photos of me. The person on my account messaged me again, showing me screenshots of my friends being sent those pictures. Again, they threatened to show more people if I didn't pay them $300, and I said no. Eventually, I found an alternative way to recover a hacked account, the Face ID photo method, but I knew that it'd take at least a few hours to be approved. Luckily, while I was waiting, they didn't send any other photos to anyone, and the next day, it was approved and I got my account back. Ultimately, me getting hacked was my fault, and I'm not going to avoid that. but I do think that people going out of their way to find those pictures and threaten a 16-year-old girl with them to get money is disgusting. Super scary experience, but it taught me to be more careful. This is an experience I had when I was 16, during the summer of 1995. I was a junior in high school. I was a theater nerd, and I hung out with my two besties, Stella and Chris, a lot. Chris was short for Chrissy. At night, we usually picked up a few friends, bought beer and smokes at our local liquor store with one of our fake IDs, then headed up to the reservoir or a local park to enjoy our illicitly obtained goods. This particular Friday night, I was driving my dad's 1976 Mercedes 450 SL. I was buying it from him with payments over time. It was in decent shape and ran strong, but was 19 years old, so had a few minor issues. One was the passenger side door could rarely be unlocked automatically using the lock from the driver's side. I picked up Stella, Chrissy, and Ted around 8 p.m. We were feeling good and extra happy because it was Friday. Ted had to go in the front seat because he was 6'1", and the back seat would barely allow two small people to sit there, Stella and Chris. We drove to our favorite liquor store just down from the reservoir. Ted and Stella got out to get ciggies and beer, while Chris and I stayed in the car chatting. About a minute after our friends walked into the liquor store, an old Chevy van pulled up about 6 feet behind me, blocking me in. At first, I thought it was just a drunk townie being dumb. Then, a thin, pale woman with shoulder-length brown hair came around to my passenger side window and tried to start up a conversation with me and Chris. The woman's eyes were dilated, and she said something about how her and her friends were amateur movie makers, and she was looking to cast us in their next gig. Chris and I exchanged a look, and we were both on the same page of what the fuck is this woman talking about. I had a bad feeling and a very strong sense that the woman was going to try to get in my car, so I subtly started hitting the lock button, hoping it would take. The woman was just babbling at this point, and she put her hand on my passenger side door handle, but literally, the second before she tried opening the door, my sweet little Mercedes frickin' finally obeyed my frantic tapping and locked the door with a loud click. The woman looked confused for a second. She tried the handle again, but my car was locked. Now I was scared and pissed. I knew the curb weight of a 76 450 SL was about 4K. The Chevy behind me may have been blocking me and had a curb weight up on me, but he was top heavy. I bet I could do a lot of damage to it if I slammed into it with my foot on the floor, especially if I did so repeatedly. So I said very loudly, "Lady, take your hands off my fucking car. Step the fuck away. You go tell your friends they need to move their fucking van now, because I'm going to floor it in reverse and tear into your shit van like it's a piece of tinfoil." I turned my key and revved my engine. It purred like the sweet little gas-sucking powerhouse it was, and my car swayed back and forth with each rev. I was not bluffing, and I think the woman saw it. The woman's eyes got wide, and she ran back to the van screaming, "Go, go, move!" As she was running back to the van, I saw a thin dude with long, stringy hair running out of the liquor store towards the van too. He jumped in the back, and the van peeled out, leaving a shower of gravel and gray exhaust in its wake. About 10 seconds later, my friends Ted and Stella came walking out of the liquor store. My adrenaline was super flowing, and I was relieved to see them. Chris and I told them about what happened, and they shared their experience. They said the guy who went in the liquor store had just walked up past them and started rambling about some weird Jesus and Bible stuff to the clerk. He also said something to my friends about them looking open-minded, and gave Stella major creeps when he looked her over. The guy at the counter had just listened for a few minutes, while my friends waited patiently to buy smokes. Then, the guy heard the revving and screaming and bolted out the door. The clerk asked my friends if the man was with them, and they said heck no. He said he thought they were all together, or he would have told the guy to leave because he sounded crazy. So my friends bought the beer and smokes and walked out. We all thought it was pretty weird shit. To this day, I am so grateful my door locked. Whatever that woman and her friends wanted, it wasn't good. Alright, so I am a 22-year-old female, and this happened nearly 13 years ago. I still remember it like it was yesterday. When I was a child, I went to a birthday party. I was 8 while visiting my dad for the weekend. The birthday party was for a neighborhood friend of ours, and we were all really excited. The other kids' parents told us it was going to be held at Monkey Joe's. Me having never been to Monkey Joe's, I was very excited. Time skipped to the party. I remember it being really loud and crowded. Then, all of a sudden, I see Monkey Joe's mascot walking out of a doorway. A bunch of kids started screaming and running up to him. I didn't really care about that. I wanted to keep playing. Though, a few minutes later, I felt like I was being watched. Like that funny feeling you get when you can definitely feel someone's eyes just watching you. Anyways, I turned around and the monkey mascot was standing in the middle of the play area just looking at me. I was a little girl then, so I was frightened by many things. I slowly shook my head as if signaling I didn't want to play. I was feeling very uncomfortable. The mascot just stared back at me and then shook his head violently up and down as if saying yes. I swear, I'm not lying. As soon as that happened, he took off straight for me. I backed up into another kid who pushed me towards one of the indoor bouncy houses, so I took off running into the bouncy house, screaming my head off and on the verge of crying. When I looked behind me, the purple monkey man was still chasing me. I was yelling at him that I was going to tell my mom. He persisted, however, and chased me all around the bouncy house. When I realized he wasn't going anywhere, I quickly ran out of that bouncy into another, between a group of more kids jumping together. Maybe thinking I could hide, Monkey Joe ran after me and started jumping with the other kids. So I took this as my chance to slip away. When I exited the bouncy house, I heard the other kids laughing and telling me that Monkey Joe was following me. I just started crying. I ran towards one of the king purple slides and crawled into it. I felt a felt hand wrap around my ankle, and I looked down to see Monkey Joe. He tugged me down, and I remember banging my elbow really hard on one of the grooves in the slide. I kept crying and telling him I was going to get my mom if he didn't go away. Then, all of a sudden, he let go, and I crawled up the slide as fast as I could. I waited for like half an hour before poking my head out of the slide. I ran to my mom crying about how Monkey Joe chased me and scared me, but she just told me I was probably being sensitive and it wasn't about me. It was my friend's birthday. After that, I sat at the table and ate pizza till we went home. I never saw Monkey Joe again. I'm not sure why he chose to terrify me, but I will never go back to Monkey Joe's ever again. Hello, chill and thrill seekers. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoy this type of content, please consider subscribing and click that notification bell to be alerted of all future videos.